I came home from deployment to find my wife trying to kill me. That might sound like something straight out of a bad movie, but I'm not joking. 1 second. I was stepping into our kitchen with my duffel bag, ready to surprise her after 8 months overseas with Special Forces. The next, I was staring down a shattered coffee mug on the floor and realizing the drink she'd left for me was laced with something that made my vision spin. I didn't pass out, not completely. Training kicked in. My body reacted before my brain could catch up. I stumbled to the sink, dumped the rest of the drink, and used the cold water to snap myself back to alertness. I sat on the floor, breathing hard, piecing everything together, and I remembered the way she smiled when I came in. Too soft, too careful, like she already knew something I didn't. My name is Logan Parker, 37 years old, former Special Forces. I've done 6 tours in places I can't even talk about. I've seen betrayal. I've seen what people do for power, for greed, for survival. But I never thought I'd come home to find betrayal wearing my wife's perfume. It all started a few months before that day. I've been writing to my wife, Mia, from overseas, emails, recorded messages, the occasional video call. At first, everything seemed fine. She'd tell me she missed me, show me the dog, sent care packages. But after a while, things changed. Calls got shorter, messages less frequent. She stopped wearing her wedding ring during video chats. Still, I didn't let myself believe the worst. I figured stress, work, maybe depression. I've been gone a long time, and military life is tough on spouses. So I planned to surprise her by coming home early. She didn't know I was stateside when I walked into our 2-story brick home in North Carolina, hoping to hug her, hold her, tell her how much I missed her. Instead, I got poisoned coffee. But that was just the beginning. After I pretended to go to sleep upstairs, still dizzy but focused, I quietly left bed. Mia had already changed and gone downstairs. I moved silently through the house, barefoot on wood floors, just like in recon training. I paused when I heard her whispering, on the phone. "He drank it," she said. "He's out. I'll text you once it's done." I froze. My heart went cold. I wasn't just dealing with cheating. I was dealing with a murder plot. It took everything I had not to walk in there and confront her, but I knew better. I'd been trained for situations exactly like this. Not with a wife, of course, but with enemies hiding behind fake smiles. So I backed away, quietly returned upstairs. I packed a small bag, left the window, and disappeared into the night. For 2 days, I went off the grid. Stayed with an old Army buddy named Cole, who ran a private security outfit outside the city. I didn't tell him everything yet. I just said I needed time. I used those hours to monitor Mia's phone activity through backup cloud access I'd set up long ago. I checked our bank accounts. I ran surveillance on the house. What I found made my blood boil. Mia had been seeing someone else for over a year. Some guy named Travis, a gym owner. She met him at a local charity gala while I was overseas. I found photos, messages, even receipts for hotel stays. But it wasn't just an affair. It was a plan. A full-blown, heartless, greedy plot to get rid of me and take everything. Life insurance. That was the motive. She'd forged some documents, increased my coverage, and planned to cash out $500,000. She was going to kill me for a payout. Now, here's the thing most people don't understand about Special Forces guys. We're not just muscle and guns. We're thinkers, planners. We live in the shadows and win wars with information. So I started treating this like an op. Mission objective: expose Mia and Travis. Rules of engagement: no police yet. No confrontation yet. I needed evidence. Hard, undeniable proof. And I needed to make sure they never saw me coming. While staying off the radar, I used old contacts to dig into Travis's past. He wasn't clean. The guy had a record sealed through a clerical error, in a different state, domestic battery, and fraud charges. That gave me my first tool: weakness. I also visited my lawyer secretly and adjusted my will, froze our joint assets, shut down access to my military pension. Mia wouldn't know until her next trip to the ATM. Then I went back to the house. Not physically, digitally. See, the entire home was wired with smart systems. I'd installed security years ago, including hidden cameras in the garage and basement. It took me one night to activate them remotely, and what they caught that very next morning turned my stomach. Travis was in my house, wearing my robe, sleeping in my bed. Mia was laughing, telling him they just had to wait a little longer, act normal, and everything would fall into place. I screen recorded every second. That same day, I emailed Mia from a fake account. No words, just a video of her pouring something into the coffee cup, slowed down to show every single detail. 10 minutes later, she left the house in a panic, trying to call me again and again. I didn't answer. The game had officially started. But I wasn't just going to scare them. I was going to ruin them. Still, I had to be smart. One false move, and they'd destroy the evidence, or worse, disappear. So I let them believe I was still unaware, that the poison didn't work, that they had time. Meanwhile, I moved back into the shadows, stalked their routines, took notes, logged phone calls, followed Travis discreetly, even placed a tracker under his car with the help of Cole's tech team. Every evening, I watched the surveillance footage, learned their habits. Every day, I prepared the trap, and it was working. Travis had secrets. One night, I followed him to a rundown storage unit 2 counties over. What I found inside: illegal steroids, loads of them. The guy was using his gym as a front for distribution. I took pictures, copied license plate numbers, took video of him handing off packages to shady men in unmarked vans. I smiled. Mia picked the wrong guy to cheat with. Still, I waited. Patience is key. I wanted them to feel comfortable again. Safe. I wanted them to lower their guard. Then came the night that changed everything. They were back at the house, drinking wine, laughing. Mia turned on the TV, playing old videos of our wedding, mocking them. Travis started talking about what to do next. And that's when Mia said it. "I think he knows. I think Logan's alive." Travis looked in the eye and said, "Then we finished the job." That's when I knew the clock had started ticking. It was time to act. But not before they made one more move. The very next morning, I watched on the camera as Travis walked out the garage with a gas can. He poured it all over the floor, lit a match, and that's where I'll stop for now. The moment I saw the flame catch on camera, I moved. I'd been waiting just a few blocks away in an old van parked under some trees. As soon as I saw Travis drop the match, I jumped into action. The gas ignited in a flash. He thought he'd destroy everything. But what he didn't know was that I had pulled every backup server and moved the main drives weeks ago. Everything they said, everything they did, it was already stored on a private, military-grade cloud system. Still, they were desperate now, and desperation made people sloppy. By the time the neighbors noticed smoke and called 911, Travis had already taken off. I tracked him live through the GPS tag I planted under his bumper. He sped across town and disappeared into a storage facility, his same secret unit I'd visited days earlier. I suspected he was hiding evidence or maybe trying to vanish altogether. Meanwhile, Mia stood outside the burning house, pretending to cry, arms wrapped around herself like a helpless widow. The fire didn't spread far thanks to the quick response from the fire department, but the damage was enough to gut the garage and half the kitchen. I watched it all from my van, parked just out of view. The chaos was perfect. It was time to tighten the noose. That night, I hacked into security footage from the storage facility, thanks to a favor from Cole's team, and downloaded crystal clear clips of Travis hauling bags of cash and crates of steroids in and out of Unit 117. I also got footage of a heated phone call he made while pacing outside. "I told you this was your job," he yelled into the phone. "Now the house is half burnt, and the guy is still out there breathing. I'm not going to jail for you, Mia." "Oh, yeah, that one was a gem." I put together a full dossier. Videos, screenshots, audio clips, messages, timeline. It was time to deliver the first blow. But before I went nuclear, I had to see Mia face to face just once. Not for closure, for confirmation. So I set the trap. I sent her an anonymous text. "You failed. Want to know who's watching? Come alone to Old Pine Bridge. Midnight. The location was important. It was where we used to go fishing, where I first told her I loved her. I wanted her off balance, emotional. She came, of course, dressed in black, nervous, kept looking over her shoulder. When I stepped out of the shadows, her mouth fell open. "Logan," she whispered. "Disappointed I'm not dead?" I asked, stepping closer, keeping calm, every move deliberate. "Or just scared because you know what's coming?" "Logan, I didn't know. Travis made me—" "Don't," I said quietly. "Don't lie. I saw it all. The messages, the poison, the laugh after you thought I drank it. You're not getting out of this." Her expression twisted into something darker. "What do you want?" she spat. "Money? You can take it. I don't care anymore." I shook my head slowly. "I'm not here for money, Mia. I'm here for truth, for justice, and for the satisfaction of watching you burn the same way you tried to burn me." Then I handed her a flash drive. "Everything's on here. All your secrets. Travis's operation, the forged documents, the attempted murder, the plan to collect life insurance. Everything." She snatched it, confused. "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because," I said, "tomorrow morning that goes to the police. Tonight is your last chance to run." I turned and walked away. And just like that, her world began to collapse. But that wasn't even the biggest hit. The next day, I released a full package to 3 places: the police, the military's legal office, to report forged documents using my service status, and the local news anonymously. The effect was immediate. Travis was arrested at the gym within hours. Cops stormed the place and pulled him out in handcuffs. Steroids, fake prescriptions, cash laundering. It was all there. Mia, she fled, but not far. She tried to empty our joint accounts, but they were already frozen. She tried to lawyer up, but the legal community knew about the charges already. No one respectable would touch her case. And that night, something unexpected happened. I got a call from Travis. I let it ring 3 times before answering. "I know you did this," he growled. "I know you tried to kill me." I replied, "Now we're even." He laughed, low and angry. "You think this is over? You think she won't turn on you to save herself? She's already working on it." I smiled. Let her try. I'd anticipated this move. So the very next day, I released one last file to the authorities, a video clip of Mia bragging to her friend over a wine call. "If this works, I'll be rich and free. Logan's practically a ghost now. And Travis? He's stupid enough to take the fall." Checkmate. Within 48 hours, Mia was arrested trying to cross state lines. Fraud, attempted murder, insurance conspiracy, tampering with military documents. And just like that, both of them were behind bars. But that's not where the story ends. Because the most extreme part of this whole twisted journey hadn't even happened yet. Just when I thought I'd put all behind me, when I finally returned to the burned house to salvage what was left, I found something buried in the ashes of the garage. A box. A small metal lockbox I hadn't seen before, covered in soot. Inside was a flash drive. And when I plugged it into my laptop, my heart dropped. It wasn't just about me. Mia and Travis, they weren't working alone. There was someone else. Someone bigger. And they were still out there. The files on the flash drive made my blood run cold. It wasn't just pictures and text anymore. These were encrypted documents, wire transfers, even schematics. Deep stuff, military-level data mixed with personal accounts. The kind of thing no cheating couple should have access to. As I dug deeper into the folders, I realized something horrifying. Mia and Travis were part of a bigger operation, and I had unknowingly stumbled into it. One folder stood out, Project Whitegate. Inside, there were documents referencing overseas assets, military procurement, and private defense contracts. I recognized some names, former operatives I'd worked with, some missing, some presumed dead. There were offshore accounts, addresses tied to shell companies, and worse, photos of me, surveillance photos, some taken during deployment. Someone had been watching me for a long time, And now I knew why Mia tried to take me out. She wasn't just after money. She was silencing me because I'd seen something on one of my last missions. Something classified. Something that tied back to this. I wasn't just a victim of a cheating wife. I was a loose end in an international weapons smuggling ring. And the people who hired Mia, they weren't in jail. They were still out there. The next few hours felt like I was back in enemy territory. I went full ghost mode, changed phones, switched cars, left town. I met with Cole, showed him the flash drive, and his face turned stone cold. "Logan," he said, "you're not dealing with lovers anymore. You're in the crosshairs of ex-military mercs and corrupt defense contractors. We've heard whispers of this group. We thought it was just smoke." I leaned back, trying to stay calm. "It's not smoke, Cole. It's a fire. And they tried to use my wife to kill me before I got too close." He looked at me for a long time, then nodded. "Then it's time we go hunting." We activated an old network we used back in the day. Quiet guys, off the record, a medic, 2 tech specialists, and a tracker. No one who asked questions. Each of us owed something to the others. The kind of team you never call unless it's life or death. It was life or death now. We tracked the financial data and found a lead, a small airstrip outside Raleigh, North Carolina, owned by a dummy company, paid for through shell accounts connected to Project Whitegate. It looked like a hub for illegal cargo, possibly weapons. And it just so happened that someone matching Travis's old contacts was seen there the week before his arrest. The next move was risky. We scouted the airstrip for 3 nights. No movement during the day. But late at night, unmarked vans came and went. Lights flickered inside the hangar. Men with earpieces. Tight patrol routes. These weren't just random thugs. These were trained. Then we saw him. Not Travis. Someone worse. Major Curtis Langston, a former Special Forces colonel turned military consultant, discharged under mysterious circumstances 5 years ago. He had access to Black Ops intel, high clearance connections, and a reputation for playing dirty. He was Mia's real employer. Suddenly, everything made sense. Travis was a pawn. Mia was the bait. And I was the target because of what I saw back in Syria when I intercepted a weapons cache not listed in any government report. A cache with Langston's fingerprints all over it. He'd been tying up loose ends ever since. And I was next on his list. So we made a plan. The final mission. Cole and I infiltrated the hangar under the cover of night. 2 others ran comms and drones from a van parked a mile out. We were in full tactical gear, armed but silent. We had one goal. Get inside, copy every file on Langston's hard drives, and get out without detection. It was going perfectly. Until it wasn't. Inside the hangar, we found racks of rifles, crates marked with foreign stamps, and surveillance systems. As Cole worked on the servers, I kept watch, and that's when I heard the voice. "Well, if it isn't the ghost himself," someone said from the shadows. "Langston." He stepped out, armed, grinning like a wolf. "You've made a mess, Parker," he said. "All you had to do was die quietly. But no, you just had to dig." I didn't respond. My eyes scanned for movement. I knew Cole was still working behind me, and we had backup 10 minutes out. I figured Mia would get the job done. Langston sneered. "Guess she had too much of a heart." "She had nothing," I growled. "Just greed." He chuckled. "Well, it's too late now. You're not walking out." And that's when the lights cut out. Boom. Flashbangs lit up the room. Our cue. Cold up behind cover. I rolled to the left, drew my weapon, and returned fire. Langston's guards rushed in, but they weren't expecting resistance. Not from 2 train operators. Within minutes, we had secured the area. Langston tried to flee. Didn't make it far. We tackled him near the runway. He fought like a man who knew prison was waiting on the other side of surrender. I got in his face and said only one thing. "This is for trying to kill me, and for using my wife to do it." We handed him over to federal agents that night. The files we recovered, enough to take down the entire Whitegate network. Corrupt defense contractors, black market traders, ex-military selling arms overseas. The fallout was massive. National news, secret hearings, military investigations. And as for Mia, she tried to cut a deal. She got 35 years instead. Travis flipped on her too and got 20. Langston? Life. But even with justice served, even with the whole web exposed and burned to the ground, something still didn't sit right. Because one name in the files hadn't been found yet. And I recognized it. My old commanding officer. Which meant this wasn't over. The name on that final document hit me like a gut punch. Colonel Thomas Granger, my former CO. A man I had trusted with my life more times than I could count. He led my unit through some of our most dangerous missions. Always calm, always sharp. The kind of leader that earned loyalty with action, not just words. So when I saw his name linked to Project Whitegate, I didn't want to believe it. But the file was clear. Bank transfers routed to offshore accounts in his name. Signed logistics authorization for equipment that never reached the field. And a decrypted message that made my stomach drop. Clean up loose ends. Parker is priority. Langston failed. Proceed if necessary. He ordered my death. Not just agreed to it, ordered it. I stared at the screen for a long time. I thought back to all the moments Granger had pulled me aside on missions, given advice, told me to keep my head down and stay sharp. He was the one who pushed me to join Special Forces in the first place. Now, he was the puppet master behind the whole plot. I was done playing defense. If Granger wanted war, he was about to get one. But this time, I wasn't alone. Cole and I looped in our old team. Every guy is still loyal, still clean. No questions, no hesitation. We'd all bled together once before, and we were ready to do it again. We called it Operation Redemption. We started with surveillance. Granger had gone quiet after Langston's arrest. Officially, he was retired, living off-grid in Montana, running a small tactical training school for private security firms. But our recon showed something else entirely. We spotted armed guards on the property. High walls. Satellite jammers. It wasn't a home. It was a fortress. That confirmed it. Granger was hiding something big. Probably the last of the evidence connecting him to Whitegate. The only way to get in was to do it our way. Like old times. At 2:14 a.m., under a moonless sky, we went in, dressed in black. Thermal visors on. Silent comms. We breached through the north fence, bypassed 2 motion sensors, and disabled the security grid before it could alert the main house. Inside the training compound were multiple storage units, a server room, and a private study. Cole and one of the others went for the drives. I went for Granger. I found him exactly where I expected, sitting in a dark room, sipping whiskey like he knew I'd come. "You always were persistent," he said without looking at me. I kept my voice steady. "Why?" He let out a tired sigh. "Because you were too good at your job, Logan. You saw too much. You asked too many questions. I needed men who obeyed, not men who thought. You taught me to think," I said coldly. He turned to face me, eyes full of something I couldn't place. Regret? Pride? Rage? "I taught you to survive," he said. "But survival isn't the same as loyalty. You kill people." I snapped. "You used your own soldiers to fund a war behind closed doors. You betrayed everything we swore to protect." He stood slowly. "And what do you plan to do now? Kill me? Think that'll fix this?" I stepped closer. "No, I'm not going to kill you." He raised an eyebrow. "I'm going to expose you." Before he could reach for the gun I knew he kept under the desk, I had mine trained on his hand. "Don't." He froze, smirked. "Still quick. Still alive," I replied. Cole burst in seconds later. "We got everything. Drives, files, comms logs. It's all there." We called in federal agents from a secure line. Granger didn't resist. He knew it was over. The fallout was even bigger than the Langston case. Granger's arrest opened the floodgates. Over a dozen high-ranking officials were pulled in. 3 private military companies were shut down. Entire government contracts were frozen. I was called to testify. Twice. Each time, I laid it out simple and clear, not for revenge anymore, but for the soldiers who didn't make it home because of corrupt men in command. Justice, real justice, came slowly, But it came. Granger got life. No parole. Langston's trial was reopened, and the added charges sealed his fate forever. Mia? She tried to appeal. Failed. Travis? Still rotting. But me? I moved far away from it all. Bought land up in Wyoming. Built a cabin. No cameras. No tech. Just me, my dog, and the peace I fought hard to earn. Cole visited sometimes. The others too. And sometimes, in the quiet of a mountain evening, I'd get letters. From soldiers. From widows. From people who said what I did gave them courage. Not everyone gets to rewrite the end of their story. But I did. Because when someone betrays a soldier, when they try to silence a man who gave his life to protect others, they forget one thing. You can take the man out of the war, but you can't take the warrior out of the man. And this warrior? He survived. He fought back. And he won. If you enjoyed this story and want more jaw-dropping tales of justice, betrayal, and comeback wins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below with your favorite part. Got your own revenge story? We'd love to hear it.